Brett's joining us to talk about The Other Two, which is a brand new series this year on Comedy Central, and he's written some of the original songs. So he's got a couple of songs that'll be on the Emmy ballot this year, and he was a Golden Globe nominee earlier this year. He co-wrote the song Revelation from Boy Erased, and but you also know him from tons of pop hits. He's been all over the charts with various artists. And he's written for Atlanta with Donald Glover. He's written for RuPaul's Drag Race. So let's talk about The Other Two. You've got a couple of creators here in Sarah and Chris that have that Saturday Night Live background. How has that helped them put this show together? What did they learn, do you think, from SNL that helps them here?
Sure. Yeah. When talking to them about it, working on a Saturday Night Live deadline, there's a certain point where you just have to stop, and it is what it is, and then they get to start over again the next week, whether or not the sketches worked. But with Chris and Sarah, most of the time they would work because they're incredibly talented. But with the other two, they had a lot more time to be detail-oriented and be extremely picky with the comedy, the script, the writing, and the casting. Whereas, when you're working on SNL, you are told who's coming in and you know who the players are. So I think they were just excited to be able to start completely from scratch and build something together.
A lot of people may not have seen the show yet. I know a lot of people have. Just describe what it's about.
Sure. So The Other Two is about I would say 13 to 14-year-old boy who becomes an internet sensation after releasing an original song on YouTube. But the show is about his older siblings. The other two, correct, who are twins, a brother and a sister. And one is a struggling actor, and the other is a former dancer, struggling realtor. And it's just about how they react to their little brother, to his sudden fame, and how they try to ride his coattails, or how they don't try to ride his coattails, and just the chaos that ensues from that. But what I love about the show is that it's not poking fun at Chase, who is the 13-year-old pop star. It's not minimizing his role. The show has a lot of heart. He's also not a jerk. He's a very sweet character that his older brother and sister look after in the show. And so it's just refreshing and very funny.
Well, because of the internet part of it and the YouTube part of it, the songs, these original songs, mean everything to this show. Tell us about the one, I know at least one that you're entering for Emmy voters to consider. What's the name of that one?
The name of the song is My Brother's Gay. And basically, the song came from Chase, the character, his need to just express to his older brother that he is okay with him being gay. And his brother, Carrie, played by Drew Tarver, isn't even necessarily comfortable yet in his sexuality, in his own skin. So he's walking down the sidewalk and starts to get recognized by people saying, you're gay, and that's okay. And he opens YouTube and realizes that his brother has basically, written him a song saying, I love you the way you are. But the music video is made up of pictures of Carrie as a child. And basically, and it also, the song says his full name as well. So Carrie Dubeck is gay, and that's okay. So he's mortified.
I mentioned earlier you've written so many, or co-written so many pop songs. How is it different writing something that is supposed to be humorous too, that's supposed to be funny?
Yeah, I think the trick was to keep the lyric funny and not the melody, not write a comedic melody, not make the production comedic. We went extremes when it came to genres because Chase, as an artist, has to evolve throughout the series. But they were taking lots of sharp turns when it came to genres. So that was a lot of fun to experiment with. But yeah, I mean, it really wasn't much different from what I normally do in writing pop songs for recording artists. It was just finding the balance and working with Chris and Sarah, who gave me an incredible bed of lyrics to work with, and it was just a lot of fun. Yeah.
they know because of SNL that humorous songs have often won the Emmy for original music and lyrics. Just last year, SNL, what was the name of that? Bring Back Barack, with Kenan Thompson co-wrote. And they've won a lot. Do you have a favorite SNL comedy song from all these years?
I mean, I grew up watching Saturday Night Live, so it was such a pleasure to work with Chris and Sarah, and thankfully to continue working with them on season 2. I mean, Dick in a Box is like very much the standout from
That won the Emmy.
the SNL catalog. But Chris and Sarah also had a lot of experience songwriting because they wrote a lot of their own music videos and songs for SNL. So it really didn't feel like working with people who were figuring it out. They knew exactly what they wanted. They knew what they were doing. They had more experience than I did in comedy writing. So I was able to step in and learn from them, but also bring my tools to give them what they wanted.
Now, you know the first 3 men that came up here and taught are score composers. Yes. Is that something you want to move into? I thought of several pop songwriters over the years that moved into scoring.
It is something I would like to do. For myself and for my skill set, it just needs to be the right project for me that I know I could take on. I scored a movie last year for Netflix called Sierra Burgess is a Loser, and that was a lot of fun because I was able to compose themes for the different characters, which I really enjoyed doing, but also wrote 14 original songs throughout the film, and then would use melodies and moments from the original songs and use them as score throughout the film. And I was able to go in and curate a soundtrack of artists that I've worked with over the years and give them each a song to sing in the movie and then for the soundtrack. And so I really enjoyed executive producing the soundtrack and just putting together something that I was really proud of that was very 80s, which I love working in.
And what do you have coming up next, other than season 2 of the other 2?
Yeah, so we're working on that right now, and I'm writing musicals for currently 3 seasons of RuPaul's Drag Race. I think since they won the Emmy last year, it's go time. So we just finished working on season 1 of RuPaul's Drag Race UK, and then we're working on a season of All Stars and another season, and so that is so much fun, writing comedic musicals for drag queens that I get to watch RuPaul laugh at. So that's really fun. And yeah, I'm working on another album right now with Troye Sivan, and just finished working with Selena Gomez on her album. And I think it's been really nice to work on things that are more lighthearted after working on Boy Erased. Every screening of that movie that I went to was just an emotional roller coaster, and I don't think I was the only one that left the theater crying. And I'm from Mississippi and come from a very similar background as to what the movie was about, conversion therapy. So to go through such an emotional roller coaster with Boy Erased, to then be able to write something that makes people laugh is very nice, and then get back into something more serious down the road.
Well, thanks very much.